Thanks for joining us. My name is Suzy Sammons, and this is my remarkable husband, Steve Sammons. And we're here to talk about a custom GPT that we've created called Geppetto. First of all, who we are. We each have 30 years experience working in creative agency and brand building, brand marketing leadership. Between the two of us, we've served the largest agencies and brands in the world and I personally have been trained by some of the best strategic and creative minds in the business. Steve is an innovative leadership executive. He has served C-level positions in top brands, nonprofits. He's been part of turnarounds and brand growth and product launches, etc. So we are here to take our experience and bring some sense, if you will, to the world of custom GPTs, OpenAI, ChatGPT. Because we're interested in helping creative teams use this tool so it can be more effective. Because whether or not you've actually found success in using ChatGPT, we know there's kind of a couple basic problems. One is when you go into chat and you want to get out a bunch of ideas, or you want to get out some social posts or blog ideas, you're entering into chat, which is then entering into the universe of the web. Now that OpenAI has introduced the idea of custom GPTs, there's the potential to be able to control a little bit more the resources that the chat will go to get the results. That's a big development. And we've developed a customizable GPT called Geppetto that we build for brands and clients that creates a custom GPT that can serve you in a much better way than just going and to the chat world yourself. So the problem still remains that if you're going to build a custom GPT, people need to get trained. It needs to be developed. You need to know that it's got the right intelligence. That's where Geppetto comes in. Steve Sammons has built Geppetto as a custom GPT that he can create for brands and marketers and individuals and people that are trying to get better results and get better training and learn how to build prompts that really are more useful and productive in ChatGPT. So, Steve, welcome to the program.
Thank you. I think one of the things that would make it easy is that we've kind of put a 3-step process together of one, spending some time to capture your brand, and 2, creating what Suzy was talking about, this custom Geppetto, and then 3, then at that point being able to go back into the chat and ask questions, have it provide answers as kind of the 3-step process. But the problem really has been that without training the chat, it's like having an adolescent show up at the brainstorming table, that they will spout off an answer, but they many times don't know what they're talking about. So the effort that we put together is how do we train and get the chat to focus? So we've created a set of original content that we have developed. And to give you an example, we've got over a dozen of these as far as what's the best practices in boosting SEO traffic, or how to build a SWOT analysis. What's a good brainstorming idea, or the art of ideation and idea generation. So these are what is in this original content, so that when we ask questions, it's being filtered through that content. Then the secondary piece is to the brand brief, your brand brief, that we spend time saying, what's the internet say you are, and what is it that you say you are? Get that balance put together, and then load in to chat the brand brief of where you want to go before we start sparring with AI to generate concepts, blog posts, social media posts, variety, whatever marketing that you want to create is then done within the filters that we've developed. Does that make sense?
So, yeah, let me see if I can sort of state that again. So the opportunity with a custom GPT is to have a limited amount of content from which the chat is drawing its answers. What you've created is a custom GPT that has a foundational set of knowledge, best practices, everything from tactical marketing ideas to strategic development. That original content is now providing a foundation. Then you go through a process, we go through a process to develop a brand brief, either with the client or we take their existing brief or brand guidelines or that project brief or whatever it is they want to do. But that's then the client foundational knowledge. Now you have a container information from which the chat will draw its ideas and information, correct?
That's correct. And brands have a variety level of sophistication in their brand brief. So we'll go through and develop a brand brief on what the internet says they think you are. We'll have you validate that, whether, yep, that's perfect, or no, you know what, it needs to be tweaked in this other direction. And we will take that customized brand brief, and that's what gets loaded in.
Because that's an interesting point, because if you go into chat, the internet might already have a whole understanding about your brand or your person or your company that's very different than what you either think it is today or what you want it to become in the future. So that's a huge watch out in terms of just going to use GPT or even a Geppetto custom GPT without first going through that process.
And it's easy to get there. You could have new products that are going to come in to give your brand a different refinement. It could be that you're going through a brand reset that says we've got a new look. We're trying to make sure that the market knows that, or even completely repositioning the entire brand. And that's got to get into the chat to understand it.
So the art really is starting with the right foundational intelligence and direction for chat. But then there's still a ton of sort of art to building the prompts and now working with the GPT and what you're calling here sparring with AI. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think the analogy on this is what would you do if you had 1,000 interns working for you? And this is where we've got this thing focused down that we have 1,000 interns that we can say, could you please give me 50 Facebook posts? And then from those 50 Facebook posts, the marketing managers, the business owners are able to go through and say, yep, 20 of those are great and we're going to use them. The other 30, they're out. So there's still that human interaction that needs to happen after it's generating its concepts, its copy, its ideas, whatever it is.
Yeah, so that training of those interns or that training of those prompts really is an important skill. So we, Steve and myself, with the benefit of our training and experience, can take a Geppetto, build one for you, but then also be able to train your team on how to write prompts, continue to evolve the prompt conversation with this Geppetto so that the answers and results get better and better and better over time. This is now a link to a resource, a tool that our clients, you, own forever. We can continue to train your team as you get new team members or want new projects to continue to use this tool more effectively. So what happens if brand information changes or you want to just update the information that's loaded in this GPT container after we've already built it? Can you do that?
Yeah, we'd come back in and modify it. So it will, as you get the link, the Geppetto link, it will continue to access all the original content that we developed and the approved brand brief as we've defined it into this link. The advantage is you could have 4 art directors and each one of them would get the same link. They would all be going through utilizing the same content, and they'll get vastly different concepts being delivered based on the questions that they're asking. So they could come back in and say, I'd like to see 5 campaigns developed on innovation for product X. And then that would be to this one product on innovation. The other one could be, I want 5 campaigns on product Y, and I want it all be around customer service. 2 entirely different campaigns, all being run through the same set of criteria.
Yeah, and I think that's a really key point, of course, also is that this still, we're passionate about the role of creative people in the process, that this is really a wonderful tool to be able to give them an accelerated head start so the ideas can go farther, as if you had another month to do creative that you don't have. But the key component is still the taste and uh, true discernment of a great creative team and a creative director to guide the work that comes out of this. So this isn't by any means work that gets spit out, then you can then publish. It is work that is going to accelerate the process of your brilliant creative team. So can you click back to that 1, 2, 3 slide? Because we just like to leave you with kind of the idea of how Geppetto works and how to reach us. And, because Steve's been an AI wrangler now for years. And now that this custom GPT tool has come out, we are able to help your team, brand teams, really make this more useful. So this process, brand brief, build your custom Geppetto, and then you're kind of off to the races, equipped this with this tool that we will also continue to train your team and additional people that you want ongoing. So that's what Geppetto is. Here's how to reach us. Cue URL slide. And just feel free to reach out to us and ask questions. This is the way to reach us, and happy prompting.